My name is Vincent Ramlochan, and I'm the commercial officer based at the Embassy of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago in Panama City. For millions of consumers, the kosher symbol has become synonymous with accountability, quality, and food safety that appeals to a diverse global audience. To access the kosher consumer, it's first imperative to understand that there are different segments that apply to kosher being a key purchasing driver. For example, there's a Jewish consumer who can observe kosher dietary laws, the non-Jewish religious observant consumer, such as Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Seventh-day Adventists. There are consumers with specific dietary restrictions and preferences, like vegetarians, vegans, those that are lactose intolerant, as well as the health-conscious consumer. Kosher certification can assist Trinidad and Tobago exporters with entering new segments in existing markets and even new markets. Keep in mind that having this certification can assist when opening doors not only in Latin America, but globally. I would like to introduce our kosher experts who will guide us through this morning's session. Firstly, I would like to introduce Rabbi Uriel Tawil, who's the CEO, and Sarah Soto, the business executive at Aleph Kosher. Aleph Kosher has been in the kosher certification business since 2005. Since their beginning as Kosher Ecuador, the company has expanded their global presence and are committed to offering premium kosher certification services around the world. So now I'll pass the floor to the rabbi and to Sarah.
Thank you so much, Vincent. Good morning to everyone. I'm the engineer Sarah Soto. I have been working for Aleph Kosher for more than a year, and I'm a proud representative of them. I will be happy to explain you all about our kosher certification and what is kosher. So who we are? We're an international certified with thousands of kosher certified products and ingredients. We're proud to issue certificates with the highest quality and standards, warranty, and in compliance with the most rigorous Jewish practices and regulations. But what is kosher? Kosher refers to a set of food and preparation guidance that originates from Jewish tradition, but can be understood more broadly. Generally, it means that certain food are fit for consumption according to these standards. Kosher rules cover the type of food can be eaten, all their ingredients, how they should be prepared, and sometimes how they should be served. Many people who do not practice Judaism choose kosher products because they meet the hygiene and quality standards. Kosher certification involves rigorous and oversight during productions. This is usually labeled, allowing consumers to learn more about their origins and their production process. The main benefits of getting kosher certified is that kosher certification allows your products to be marketed to Jewish consumers who strictly adhere to kosher dairy laws. This demographic often actively seeks out the kosher certified products, expanding your potential customer base. The enhanced reputation and trust is seen that as a mark of quality and adherence for stringent food preparation standards can be enhance your brand and reputation for cleanliness and purity and reliability, not just among the Jewish consumer, but also among other who perceive kosher certification as a sign of overall food safety and quality. About the institutional markets, many institutions, as hospitals and other organizations with dairy guidance, prefer to purchase kosher certified products due to their reputation and clearness. About the compliance of global standards, they usually or certified are very aligned with the exit of many global good safety standards and regulations. This can simplify the process of complying with various international food safety requirements and regulations that can make it easy for you to export and involve the global market. The differentiation in the market this is a competitive market. Having kosher certification can differentiate your products from others, providing a unique selling point that appeal to specific segments of consumers who prioritize the kosher products. And in the consumer confidence and loyalty, for consumers who allows kosher dairy laws, the certification provides the assurance that your products meet their religion requirements. Now, the purchasing behavior of kosher consumer, around 55% of consumers buy kosher because they feel that kosher food are safer and healthier. Around 38% of consumers buy kosher because they look for products that meet their needs, like vegetarian, sometimes this means parve. Around 24% of consumers buy kosher because they look for dairy-free products, and usually, as I said before, they appreciate the accurate labeling that specifies that kosher certification, making it easier to identify the suitable products, those with dairy restriction like lactose intolerance or gluten intolerance. Please keep in mind that almost 80% of all the products sold kosher are outside of the traditional Jewish market. In the global kosher market, we based on the BBC News, while around 2% of America are Jewish. This is around 7.5 million people, as a study conducted by Business News site Courts found that the 41% of all packaged food in the US have kosher certification. The demand in kosher is increasing, for forecasting the global kosher food market will grow nearly 60 billion by 2025. Around 21% of America who regularly or occasionally buy kosher products because they are kosher. There are more than 2 million products with the certification kosher worldwide. In Ecuador, Colombia, Argentina, Bolivia, and others have thousands of kosher products every year. In the Global Kosher Insights, we see that the kosher food market is projected to an experience of significant growth, reaching substantial values in the incoming years. About the regional trends, the market shows varied growth rates across the different regions. Kosher certification is the food industry abroad other regions, such as Europe, Asia, Pacific, also are seeing recent interest in. In the consumer demography, the study identified that diverse consumer base of kosher products included not only Jewish consumer, but also those who seeking to healthier or ethical source of food options. In the products categories, is a way of run that kosher products categories include meat, dairy, snacks, and packaged food. The demand of organic and gluten-free kosher products are increasing, reflecting a broader health trend. In the market drivers, factors driving the kosher markets include the rising popularity of health-conscious eating, ethical concerns about animal treatment, and the growing availability of kosher products in the mainstream retail. For e-commerce growth, the shift towards the online shopping has made it easier for consumers to access kosher products, contributing the market expansion. Innovating offers, companies are increasingly innovating within the kosher space, creating new products that appeal both traditional consumers that are looking for unique and modern options. If we are talking of kosher in America Latina, Argentina is located among the main markets of these products in America Latina. Have several supermarkets that venture into install kosher shelves. In Panama, more than 50 supermarkets with kosher food. In Peru, most of the supermarkets have kosher products, according to the report from the Jewish community in Lima. In Colombia, we have Carulla supermarket chain that there is a special food aisles in the general throughout the country market have kosher products. And in Ecuador, a variety of kosher products are sold in the market. Supermaxi and Microcomisariato has a special kosher sauce. And if you realize when you go to the market or when you have in your own table, you can realize that there are a lot of products that are daily products, for example, salt, waves, that all of them have kosher certified, even if we don't realize it a lot. If you go a little closer to all your products, you will find them. This is how kosher gondolas looks like. Usually, all the kosher things that must be refrigerated are very separate from the other kind of food that is not kosher. About the opportunities in the world, the United States currently has the largest number of consumers of kosher products. The European market is considering up and coming, led by Spain, United Kingdom, Belgium, Italy, closely followed by Germany and Poland. This is also a strategy gateway to enter to Israel market, which is highly consumer. I will let you to continue with the Rabbi. Continue.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for giving us the introduction. Good morning, everyone. We'd like to thank Mr. Vicente from the embassy in Panama for opening up for us this opportunity to show you what kosher is all about. We are constantly doing this type of meetings on different countries, and we have seen a lot of interest from the manufacturers, and also a lot of histories of success. So I hope I'm gonna be able to meet each one of you in the future personally on your factories for the kosher certification. So I will dive a bit more deeply on the kosher processing. So the first step we are usually asking in order to get certified is to complete a form which where we asking very basic information about your factory, so we can ahead before we are starting working on the file, we can understand a bit more how your factory is combined. So when we get to the point of doing the initial visit, we already were able to solve many different aspects that will require during the visit. So in order to have a company to get certified, the most essential or critical, we'll call it, thing is to have all the ingredients kosher, meaning all the ingredients that are already processed in another different facility, they must carry a kosher certification. Unless those ingredients or those products that are 100% natural, and we have determined that they are the production of them are fine to consume without kosher certification. For those ingredients, usually we'll use a data sheet, a spec sheet, to ensure that the product is the right ingredient. Also, so once a company is decided to get certified, they will keep their production line only for kosher products, meaning that each product they will like to each ingredient they will like to introduce into the factory, it will require it will require the approval from our side, to ensure that the line doesn't get, let's say, affected, doesn't get non-kosher. For that, we have designed a system, internet system, where we can approve very fast, in very few hours. We can approve the ingredients and on products, etc. So here you can see there is a distinction in different symbols. As you can see, there are in kosher, we are very careful about different things, like, for example, dairy products. It means that according to the kosher law, you are not able to eat a product of dairy after you eating a meat product, a meat food. So we are keeping the symbols with a small letter you can see in the side. For example, the second symbol has a D on it, so it's marked that the product is dairy. So person that is sitting to eat a meal, after the meal he wants to have, for example, a chocolate, he will know that if the chocolate is dairy, so then he cannot have that product after the meat. He will need to wait a few hours in order to the digestion, to the food to get digested, and then he can consume this product. Also, we have the Passover, is the third symbol in the middle. That indicates that the product is basically gluten-free, have no gluten on it, and is approved for consume during the week of Passover, which is Jewish festival. And then the fourth one is glad. We are putting it on meat products, in meat poultry, to ensure that the product is only meat. And the last one is fish. Certain times we cannot see the fish. For example, in tuna fish, we no need to use the symbol. But when we have, let's say, fish sauce, then we use this type of symbol. And all this to ensure that the client will keep the kosher laws as strictly as possible. As earlier Sarah explained, that's one of the reasons why many non-kosher clients are really keeping kosher, because they trust on the way we are checking the companies, and they trust that when it says parv, so it's 100% without any other dairy or meat, etc. So why kosher required? Why a food required certification? So today the manufacturing have become very complex, as you all know. There is many different ingredients, aids that we can, that are used in the industry. So first of all, we are keeping that, as we said, the ingredients will be only kosher. For example, there is many companies that they produce, let's say, oils and margarines, that they also produce margarine that is, let's say, dairy. So in that case, we will need to know, the source of it in order to certify it. And also the equipment used. So it doesn't affect the final product, as we explained earlier. So you can see during the initial visit, we are checking the entire facility to make sure each line how is dedicated. Sometimes a company can have only one line kosher and the rest of the lines are not kosher. Sometimes the entire facility will be kosher. It all will depend on the type of facility, type of products they are using, and the will of the commercial area on the company. Sometimes we require a koshering period to the to the certification, and that's what the supervisor here is doing. You can see in the picture is like making sure that the koshering is handled accordingly. So we have a lot of companies certified. You can identify here, for example, Bell Flavor, Disaromati, Oriental, Nature Earth, Ferrero, Nestle. All those are our clients in different type of products. Sometimes are candies or food products, chocolates, flavors, essential oils, sugar, salt, different type of dressings. Today the clients are always looking for newer, for newer ingredients, newer products to consume. So the world is open and waiting for new flavors. We have also La Fabril, which is an oil company. So also, yeah, we cover also the media. When a company is certified, we usually do for you some type of advertisement. On the initial visit, we make sure that our clients are aware about your products. In this case, Trinidad Tobago will be certified. It will be a nice a nice news to cover the newspapers. So as we said, as we speak earlier, what is the steps to achieve? First of all, is the application. We will require the company to write in the application is free of charge. You do not need to pay any type of money in order to make the application and the initial evaluation. And then when we decide that this company could be certified, then we do the coordination. We will talk to you. We will give you a code, an estimate how much it will cost, and then we will carry the initial visit. If you approve the cost, we will carry the initial visit. That visit should be on place. We will come and inspect the entire facility, all the ingredients, all what we have spoken earlier on the application. And then if all meets the requirements, we will go with the contract and compliance, and then giving you the kosher certification. During the year of certification, we will continue doing several visits to your plant to ensure that the certification stays on, like that the company is well committed with all what we have agreed in advance. Usually the certification is valid for 1 year, and before it's due, we will renew it right away. If there is as any event, any events that will not allow us to renewal, so then we'll let the company know in advance. Yeah, now is the time for questions. please, we are here. By the way, all the time during the questions, if you guys have any other questions in future, here is our phone. We have also WhatsApp on this number with several people responding to all type of inquiries. Also through the email or the social media, you are welcome to ask any type of questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rabbi and Sarah, for that presentation and shedding light on this important topic and providing us with a step-by-step guide to becoming kosher certified. Just a gentle reminder for everyone, if there are any questions based on the Rabbi's presentation and Sarah's presentation, if you can type those questions into the chat bar and we can start answering those questions during the session. We also have the opportunity at the end of the session to answer those questions, but I think it will be great if you all can start popping any questions that you may have into the chat bar. So while you guys are thinking about your questions, I think we'll move on to our next presenter this morning. So our next presenter is Mr. Krishan Maharaj. He's the manager of capacity building and funding at the Trinidad and Tobago Trade and Investment Promotion Agency. So Krishan will share with us the funding mechanisms that are available to support exporters who are interested in obtaining the kosher certification. So Krishan, over to you.
All right, thank you, Vincent. Before I start, I saw Darylyn had a question in the chat. Do we entertain it before or?
So I think Sarah and them can take a look at the questions and can respond in the chat bar, and then as well we can answer some of them at the end.
Sure. All right, thank you, Vincent. Let me just find my file. All right, you all see my screen?
Yes, we are.
Excellent. All right, so good morning all. I am Krishan Maharaj. I manage the capacity building and funding unit of the Trinidad and Tobago Trade and Investment Promotion Agency. This presentation will be very brief because I'm just going to touch on two areas that we could support what was discussed, what was presented this morning by Rabbi and by Ms. Soto. So the first thing that I want to get into would be the co-financing facility. Now, some of you, probably most of you in this meeting right now would be familiar with the co-financing service as it was under Export TT. Now, changes have been made to the service, so I'll take the opportunity to point out some of the changes and some of the areas that they can be supported using the co-financing facility. So co-financing is a grant. The name says financing, but you're not repaying anything. Is a grant, it's grant funding to assist companies with export market entry activities. So it's like to offset the cost of certain export related activities. One of the things that is an export related activity would be to meet international certifications, whether it's mandatory, compulsory certifications or voluntary standards, such as the Kosher Certification as outlined by Aleph Kosher this morning. So just a little bit about co-financing and how it stands now. So the areas that are covered under co-financing would be product registration in overseas markets. So if you have to get your company or your products registered within certain markets, there's support under the co-financing for that. There's the intellectual property registration in overseas markets. Primarily, this would be, for you, should take the form of trademark registration. But any other sort of intellectual property registration that's required for you to enter export markets, you can get your support through co-financing as well. Then there's support for translation and interpretation of export-related documents. There may be some of that as you go through the process to get the kosher certification right now. Shipping of samples to prospective buyers in overseas markets, also covered and supported. This is to get your samples in hand because one of the better ways to sell your product is for your potential buyer to have it tangibly there, taste it, experience it, feel it. Labeling, product modification, testing, and packaging modification now falls under the co-financing support. So, Rabbi would have pointed out some testing that would have to be done. And as we can see, it is very thorough, very comprehensive. The type of testing is done down to the quality and origins of ingredients you're using. Some of that kind of work for export-related activities, such as entering markets where kosher is preference and can be leveraged for marketing. That would be supported as well under the new co-financing service. Under co-financing, we no longer support the new website development. However, there is support for enabling e-commerce functionality. So if you have your company's website online right now, and you want to enable e-commerce functionality so you can actually conduct your B2C or B2B sales and get your platform and your payment gateways up and running, there's support for that under co-financing. And there is support for in-market promotion. So this is if you have a buyer, you recently signed or have an agreement with a buyer in an overseas market, there's some support within co-financing to help you promote that product in that market. So if you get your Kosher certification to enter a new market, this would be something good for you to leverage, take advantage of, because you could promote, just as Aleph Kosher will promote in the papers that you are kosher certified and you have your product available in the market for consumption. So how the co-financing works is that support will be provided for up to 50% of the cost for the particular activity. The limits will be different now, and I'll actually talk about it in this slide here. The limits are a bit different now in that the service is for companies wholly owned by Trinidad and Tobago nationals and registered and operating in Trinidad and Tobago. The companies must be small or medium-sized enterprises. This is one of the new changes. For small and medium enterprises, our definition is 8 million to 15 million TT in revenue will put you in the category of being a medium-sized company. Below that would be small. So if you are within that threshold under 15 million TT in revenue, you're eligible to apply based on that particular criteria. And the products must be manufactured locally in Trinidad and Tobago. So just bear that in mind when applying for the co-financing. So it's 50% of the cost, and the limits operate as such. So small companies, so that is if you are producing up to, well, if you have a revenue of up to 8 million TT, you can access 50% to a limit of 50,000 for an annual period. We still need clarification on whether it's calendar or what we treat as a fiscal year, but within that 1 year period, you can access up to 50% using co-financing. So if the total cost of what you have to do is not up to that limit of 50% meeting 50,000, you can reapply for something else in co-financing and consider it as sort of a drawdown for the co-financing service. For medium-sized companies, so that these are the companies with the 8 to $15 million revenue, support will be given up to a limit of 25,000 annually. And the funding is on a 50-50 matching basis, where once approved, you show us your evidence of your 50% payment, and then the agency will arrange payment to your supplier, to your vendor, for the other 50%. So that's co-financing. It's revised, so it might be different to what many of you might be accustomed to. So bear that in mind. I can share this as well. We also have the new information on the website. You can still access the exporttt.co.tt website to get information on that revised co-financing. Now, something that's a bit more specific to international certification is the International Certification Fund. So this is to support companies to get international certification for product standards, to increase non-energy exports through the certification to meet international standards. So of course, when you comply with these certifications, you have access to new markets and new customers. Is to meet the recognized quality and safety standards to compete with imported goods on the local market. What I found was very interesting in the presentation before was the fact that it was highlighted that by meeting kosher standards, people tend to recognize that as sort of a better food safety and food quality type product as well. So that's interesting. And it is the International Certification Fund is also to comply with the requirements of international franchises or projects. So you might find a situation where you want to enter a particular franchise or chain. You need to meet specific standards to enter. You can get support through the International Certification Fund for that, as well as for particular projects. It could be partnering with a new company, just launching a new product in a new market that has to meet particular standards and certifications to be accepted by the market. That is also supported by the International Certification Fund. Now, this covers mandatory requirements. So if you have to get your HACCP certification, some regions specify that they want FSSC 22000, the food safety standard certification to be able to sell in their markets. That's covered, but it also covers voluntary standards, such as kosher. So voluntary spans, things like kosher, halal, Rainforest Alliance, non-GMO. All of these things can also be supported through the International Certification Fund. So though they are not legal requirements to enter a market, you show evidence that it will help get you in a new market and access to new export customers, and you can build that into your application for the ICF. So the ICF covers the certification cost. It covers, so that's the actual cost of getting that certification, to have the right to use that stamp. It helps with building capacity in the conduct of standards audits. So Rabbi had pointed out that there is an audit that takes place, and it's at a cost to get it done. That sort of working towards the standard will also be eligible for the ICF. The acquisition of specialized equipment required for the adoption of standards. So this is not production equipment per se, but if it is particular types of equipment that is required to meet a standard. So sometimes we'll find, like, if you're going for a food safety standard like FSSC 22000, you might need like a commercial grade metal detector that is required to get the standard. That sort of equipment will be covered under the International Certification Fund. Infrastructural modifications to comply with the standards. So if you have to revise your production line or your production process to avoid cross-contamination or anything that might, in the case of kosher, be against the rules, that sort of modification is also covered under the International Certification Fund. So how it works is that for this particular fund, we categorize companies based on the size of exporter you are and not necessarily the size of company. So for those who export under 1 million US dollars, you can access up to 100% to a limit of $500,000 to get a particular certification done. For import substitution, because this is also something that's covered under this grant. It's not just for export, but also import substitution to prove that you can displace imported products on shelves by meeting a particular standard. For firms contributing to import substitution, if you have sales of under 25 million TT, you can also apply to get your 100% of funding. So this would really be dependent on what standard you're going for. Now, if you're going for something like kosher, you are targeting the export markets because we do have such a big Jewish community in Trinidad and Tobago. However, it is a huge market and a huge segment that you would want to enter. And those are actually just the two areas I wanted to touch on this morning, and two areas of support that you could get through the agency. There's also a lot more support that we offer. You can get assistance to get your certificate of origin. We have a very good market research department that can help you get the trade data and, well, research in general done. And we also have several different grants that are offered. We give support with international B2Bs via trade shows and trade missions. I would invite you to take a look at the Export TT website. It is still exporttt.co.tt, pretty well. That has everything outlined. And of course, we have a Q&A now, so you can feel free to ask me any questions about what's offered by the agency. So thank you.
Thank you, Chrisan, for sharing that information with us. So now we will go into the question and answer segment. So I saw in the chat bar that we were having some discussions, and I know that it was asked if Aleph Kosher can help with covering and doing the certification globally, and that was answered, as well as Kosher does not replace any quality certifications. So I'm glad that those questions were raised. I don't know if there are any other questions. Please take the opportunity, as we have the experts in the virtual room, to ask your questions. Is there anyone else with any questions that they would like to pop into the chat bar? I also saw that Sarah would have shared the WhatsApp number for Aleph Kosher, so you all can be able to contact them as well to get some information. Just to reiterate, I know they mentioned that there's no cost for the application, for the initial application and for that review, but after the review is done and the product can be certified kosher, then they will be able to provide you with a quotation, and then you can take the process forward. So I don't know if there are any other questions from anyone. I saw that there's a question about the average cost. Sarah or Rabbi, I don't know if you all can provide an estimate of what that cost would be. I know it would change by company, but just an average of what that cost would be. And then the question following that would be, how long does the certification period take?
Hello again. Well, the average cost, it depends totally about the product or how big is the factory, but it's not around how many ingredients or stuff do you have. No, it depends more what kind of product and how long it's going to take a visit. How long the certification period takes? Well, usually in around 50 days, we're going to organize the visit according to our schedule. And it takes from 1 to 2 weeks to get the certification. And it lasts 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for the average cost, please don't worry. You can send us the form, and we're going to give you the average cost with no commitment.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. Wow, I didn't realize that the certification process can actually take place that quickly. I thought it took a little longer. So I'm happy to know that. I had a question just to give others a chance in case they are typing any questions. I know that the rabbi mentioned about compliance, that you all will have to do visits to ensure that, the manufacturing facility is keeping up with the kosher. Like, how often are those visits to ensure compliance? Like, how often do you all normally do those visits?
Okay, the mainly visit is when you get the certification, but as we are worldwide, we manage around, for example, if there is a new factory that we're going to certify and is close to yours, we'll take advantage of the closeness and make a visit. It could be each 5 months, 6 months, not necessary. It's not mandatory that we're going to make the visit, but once we are going to do it, we're going to call you like 1 or 2 days before, and we're going to tell you, hey, we're going there. So just in case.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Are there any more questions, guys? I mean, if you don't have any questions now, we also have the WhatsApp chat for Aleph Kosher, so you all can contact them directly. But I don't know, Sarah, Rabbi, is there anything in closing that you would like to reiterate or to share with our companies before we close this morning's session?
Yeah, so we will be glad to work with you and to certify as many companies we can in your area. That will for sure make cheaper the price of certification. You know, and we're looking forward to have your product spread all over the world.
We are looking forward to that as well. Thank you very much. And just to those companies that are online, please take advantage of the facilities that are available through the agency and through Mr. Miraj, who can be able to share with you guys as well about the funding that is available. So I would just like to thank our presenters for their willingness for sharing their knowledge and their expertise with us to help us better understand the kosher certification process and the untapped export opportunities, which I think is most important and that are available for Trinidad and Tobago exporters, not only to Latin America, but globally as well.